Good afternoon, folks, and thank you for joining us on the second of a very exciting webinar series brought to you by Ride to Conquer Cancer sponsor KPMG. We have three awesome panelists today with some inspirational fundraising success stories, tips from a certified cycling coach to take your training to the next level, and some on-event logistics information that we know you're excited to hear about. It's going to be really helpful information. I'd like to introduce our three speakers today. First off, cycling coach and owner of Bike Right is our great friend of the Enbridge Ride to Conquer Cancer, Derek McNeil, as well as Ramona Oss and Steve Merker from the Princess Margaret Cancer Foundation. They'll be joining us just shortly after Derek. We are recording today's webinar, so you'll be able to tell your friends, family, and teammates to watch today's webinar on the Ride Map to Success page on the Ride to Conquer Cancer website. When the webinar is posted, we'll send out an email to everyone to let you guys know. Thank you again for joining us today. Before I let Derek kick it off, just want to let you know that you can ask questions throughout today's webinar in the right-hand section where the questions section is. In fact, we've had a few riders already answer our first question of the day. Let's take a look at some of our answers here. We have Carolyn Goodwin joining us from, this is your third year, joining us from Mississauga. That's a terrible pronunciation on my part, so my apologies there. But thanks for joining us again. Let's see if we have any first-time riders. We do. Christine Slight, attending from Ajax. This is her first ride. I'm sure you're going to get some great information on today's webinar, Christine. We're going to go ahead and kick it off. I'm going to throw it to Derek. Derek, all yours, sir.
Thank you very much. Let me just get my screen up here for you guys. I've got a short little presentation to offer. I'm hoping that my presentation today gets you motivated and active and maybe stirs up some questions for you during the webinar today. So let me just pull up the presentation and we can get started. I think you should be able to see everything right now. So welcome. As they said, I'm owner of Bike Right. I'm a small little shop in Mississauga. I specialize in some very high quality service and bike products as well. I'm a certified cycling coach, and I've been involved in the Ride to Conquer Cancer in various capacities, including mechanical support and a little bit of consultation since its inception. So I'm happy to be here today to share some of that experience I've gained over the last number of years. And really, preparation is your power in getting ready for this ride. So I'm going to start with the top 5 questions that I've learned that the riders have. Number 1, when should I start training? Well, I think you should start right now. And that means doing something every day. Turn this into a bit of a lifestyle thing for yourself. Even if you're going for a walk and you can't get out for a ride, do something active. Go for a walk, walk your dog, take the stairs instead of the escalator, things like that. Start slowly and build carefully. You don't want to have your first time out on a bike to be 2 hours and you're so tired that now you have to take 4 or 5 days off to recover before you can get back active again. You want to be focusing on the energy system that you're actually going to be using during the ride, which is your aerobic system. So going to the gym and doing bench press and stuff, while it's healthy and good for you, it's not necessarily going to be the best time spent to get yourself ready for a cycling event. So try to do stuff that is aerobic based. Second question, what should I eat and drink? Well, this could be a very long topic, but I'm going to try to keep it brief here. Basically, as we heat up, hopefully we get some warm weather soon, you want to be rehydrating with more than just water. You're going to need to replace some energy. You're going to need to replace some electrolytes. And you want to be sipping at something that's got some of those items in there. So a high-quality energy drink is what I recommend. I try to avoid the energy drinks that you can buy at the convenience stores. They're very high in sugar. They're very high in a lot of stuff you don't need. So get yourself a decent energy drink. Any quality shop is going to have some recommendations for you. While you're training, and especially on the ride, don't be afraid to consume calories. Your body's burning energy right from the start. So in that first hour of riding, you want to be consuming some calories to keep yourself fueled over the 2 days. So 150 to 300 calories per hour is a typical rate that you want to be consuming some calories. So think about how you're going to plan your nutrition for your riding in your training. Avoid very sugary foods. Getting a sugar spike is helpful for that moment, but there's always a sugar crash after a sugar spike. So try to avoid that. And you don't need fancy energy products to get through this ride. You know, you can have just very healthy things like bananas and fig Newtons and even some homemade items. I had an athlete once that trained for Ironman, and her fuel was banana bread and Skittles. Sounds a bit bizarre, but it worked for her. So you don't need to spend a lot of money for your nutrition on your ride times. Number 3, what gear do I actually need? There is a ton of stuff that I would love to sell you, of course, but there's really just a list of basic things that you need to get going. Number 1, obviously, is a bike. Make sure it's running well. Take it in for a tune-up today. Get it done. Bike shops are very busy, so you want to get in there and get it back as soon as possible. You might as well have a good running bike for your training. And make sure you get a fit done as well. You want to be fit properly in that bike to avoid injury, to enhance your comfort, enhance your efficiency and your power. A helmet, mandatory for the ride, should be mandatory for all ages. And if it's older than 3 years, please replace it. A helmet that's 3 years old has probably had enough small dings and bumps and drops that it's not going to protect you as well as a new helmet. And you don't need to spend a ton of money on a new helmet. So go and check out some of the great helmets out there. Gloves are great for comfort, but they're also good for protection. If you did have a fall, your hand is the first thing you put out there. Your glove is going to protect your hand from the road. Invest in some very high quality cycling shorts. Don't cheap out on this. This is your main contact point with the bike, and a good short is going to have you comfortable and not thinking about that saddle. So go to a quality shop, take a look at some of the shorts that they wear, that they offer to wear, and even if you're wearing baggy shorts, you still want to wear a cycling short liner there for some comfort. Cycling shoes, yes, you can ride in running shoes on flat pedals, but a cycling shoe has a stiff sole. It's good for your feet. It's going to prevent any strain on the bottom of your foot. And you don't have to clip into your pedals. That's optional, but a cycling shoe, even on a flat pedal, is going to be more efficient for you. And then make sure you invest in whatever other clothing you think you're going to need based on conditions, whether it's rain or cold. A good bike shop can recommend some of those products for you as well. Do you need a new bike? Well, I always say you need a new bike, but any bike that's properly fit to you and that's safe to ride and working well is going to be fine for you. I've seen a lot of people ride all kinds of bikes at this event, including mountain bikes. If you do have a mountain bike, but please get slick tires. It's going to make a big difference to have a little less rolling resistance and a little skinnier tire for it. If you are purchasing a new bike, purchase a bike that suits your riding style. If you're an endurance rider or you want to go long and be comfortable, getting a road racing bike is not going to be ideal. If you're looking for something that's good on pathways, that sort of thing, then maybe there's a different kind of bike for that type of riding for you. So don't get pressured into buying a road race bike just because you're riding on the road. And lastly, a bike that's lighter, a bike that's easier to use and more comfortable is certainly going to enhance your riding experience, but remember, it's not a substitute for your training, so please get out there on any bike and get started. And does your bike fit properly? Well, this is the most important thing. I would rather see you on an entry-level bike that is properly fit than a very high-end bike that is improperly fit. Two reasons. One is comfort and therefore your endurance, your ability to keep riding. Secondly is if you're improperly fit, repetitive strain injuries are going to be most common, and you don't want either of those. Invest in a great bike fit from a qualified bike fitter. There's a lot of people that can refer different bike fitters, and there's a lot of shops that offer it, but make sure you check into it, see what makes them good, what sort of experience they have. And do the fit now. Reap the benefits of having a properly fit bike for your training. You don't want to wait until a week before your event to have your bike fit. Do it now so that you're properly fit for all your rides. And I always tell people to avoid borrowing bikes or gear that's new to them. If you are doing that, please do it soon so you get used to it. I don't know anybody that's going to want to lend stuff out for very long, so investing in your own is always the best. But and another note on new stuff is don't wait for new things right before the ride. You want to make sure you get some practice time on new equipment, new gear, new bikes, whatever, so that you know it's all been sussed out as working for you. Top 5 ways to train. Here's some simple things to get you going, because I know we haven't had great weather to get going yet, but there are ways to train even if the weather's not working with us. Ride indoors. Spin classes are great. They're highly motivating. There's a crowd there. They're cycling specific, obviously. And a good challenging spin class is not only going to make you stronger physically, it's going to make you stronger mentally. So when you're climbing that hill up into Hamilton, you're going to think, hey, I got through those spin classes. I can get through this hill, no problem. So they can be done at lunch hours when you're at work. They can be done in evenings when it's dark. Whatever works for you with your schedule. There's a lot of indoor rides that can fit into that. Stationary trainers are also helpful, that you can do your riding on your bike indoors on your own schedule. Other fitness classes obviously are going to help. Anything that's aerobic is going to make a difference for you. And it could be something that you're fitting in between other ride days. So maybe you're complementing your ride schedule with other strength training or aerobic activities. Makes it a little easier to fit in your schedule as well. But try to focus your efforts off the bike on ways to improve your cycling and your endurance, not just your bench press strength or something very different. Yoga is a great way to stay flexible and strong, and I highly recommend it. But if you have a choice to train for this ride at this point, a ride is probably going to do you a little bit better than a yoga class. Number 3, get out for an organized group ride. I know that the Ride to Conquer Cancer team posts different rides that you can participate in. There's different bike shops that have rides organized. This is a great way to get out. There's no shortcuts. You're with your group. You're not going to go off on your own. It's planned out for you, so you don't have to think about it too much. There's great learning opportunities riding with other riders. You can see and hear what they're doing and ask questions from experienced riders. It makes you accountable to that ride. You have to show up if you've committed to it. You want to show up and be there. And time flies by when you're having fun with other riders. So nothing's worse than a long ride on your own. It's always better with some people. And it's time on your bike. It's not a spin bike. It's not an exercise bike. It's your bike, so you're getting used to your equipment. Get a training buddy, somebody that you can be accountable to. If you both commit to showing up for a ride, you both have to show up. It's social, and you get a shared experience. It's a lot of fun. I don't necessarily recommend riding a tandem on a track, but if it works for you, give it a shot. Commuting, this is something I wish we all could do more. I know we're fearful of the roads, but it is possible to try to integrate some commuting into your life, whether it's to work or to errands, ride to the gym, whatever. Even if you're riding partway to work, where you drive partway and park the car and ride into town. You could drive to bike routes where there's bike lanes and that sort of thing, make it a little safer for you, and park your car and do a ride. If you are commuting, don't do what this guy's doing in the photo. That looks just a little excessive. So some final tips here. Consistency is the key, okay? You want to keep doing something on a regular basis. That's going to get you the best results for your training time. Don't do crash training where it's a whole bunch of hard rides or a whole bunch of workouts in one little short period of time, and then you take a lot of time off to recover from that. Try to be consistent and build as you go through. Later this week, or maybe even later today, we're going to be posting a revised schedule from this day forward to the ride to help you in planning your ride times and your distances to make sure that you're ready for the ride. Keep in mind, longer rides are the most critical. You really want to get out there and know what it's like to ride for multiple hours, not just the 1 hour spin classes. You want to be out there and know that your nutrition plan works, that your comfort on your bike is good, that all that stuff works together. And in your planning for your rides, you need to schedule in some double days. meaning you do a long ride one day, and then even if you get on the bike for just an hour the next day, you want to have that experience of starting a ride where your legs are tired, and that you know once you get going you're going to be fine. You don't necessarily have to do the same mileage the next day. If you're strong enough to do that, by all means. But having a double day to experience that feeling of waking up tired, getting back on a bike, and getting going again is what you want to learn. Avoid hard or long rides the week before the event. You want to taper off. You want to show up to the event rested. And training a week before the ride is not going to help your ride at all. It takes longer than 1 week for your body to adapt from your training stimulus. So it's just going to tire you out. And remember to have fun out there. This is a great event. You're well supported, and don't get caught up in the agony of pushing yourself. Slow down, look around, breathe, and have fun. So I'm going to hand it back to Chris, and I'm going to stay in line if there's any questions.
Derek, fantastic information. Some really invaluable tips there for new and for returning riders. Really great stuff. I know for me, I'm going to head home and throw all my energy drinks in the trash can because they're not good for me, clearly. Before we head off to our next panelist, I do want to acknowledge some other attendees that are joining us today. Let's see if I can click on these questions. All righty. Derek, it seems you have a buddy joining you, our returning rider in his third year from Toronto. David Marchione is joining us. Apparently he went to high school with you, so that's pretty cool. Thanks for joining us, David. We also have Jacqueline Miller from Toronto. She'll be riding in her first ride this year, so I'm sure a lot of Derek's tips there will really help you out. We appreciate you joining us. All righty, folks. We're going to turn it over now to Ramona at the Princess Margaret Cancer Foundation to discuss two great fundraising examples to inspire and reinvigorate your fundraising. Oh, that's not good. Something. Is the Ethernet cable plugged in? It should be plugged in over there. Yeah. Oh man, I think it's supposed to be plugged in over there.
We're still on Wi-Fi though.
Shoot.
Connection.
Hello, folks. We are back. This is Chris, your moderator. Sorry about that. We had a little technical difficulty. Sometimes you're going to have technical difficulties on the ride, perhaps with your bike. That's why we got lots of great bike support out there to help you out. Sorry about that, but we have returned. The webinar continues. Ramona, I see you there. How are you? Yeah, there she is. Ramona, please, all yours.
Excellent, excellent. Well, thank you so much, Chris. I'm certainly thrilled to be speaking to you today about some great fundraising ideas. The first of which, how come I can't? Sorry, I'm just another small little technical difficulty. First of which is our local spin event fundraiser. Certainly a great way to engage your team, donors, raise money, and of course get fit for the ride. Certainly before I begin though, I have to give credit to our fabulous Paramedics for a Cure team, whose spin event I attended a few weeks back, and after whom this case study is based. So if you're interested in doing this type of event, here's what you have to do. First of all, you're going to book a spin studio and instructor in your area with enough space to, of course, host the spin and hopefully a post-spin get-together and dinner. In the case of the Paramedics spin event, they asked for a $50 registration fee for each participant. And they opened it up to, of course, their team members, friends, family, and even the spin studio had some of their clients join in. You can promote the event through your own social media network and, of course, your team members. And again, Quad East was the host of this particular spin event, and they put a note out to all their riders across all their studios highlighting this event. The event could run for 2.5 hours. You could start at 3 o'clock, have a registration for the first half hour, spin for an hour, and then have a mix and mingle event and dinner and silent auction for the following hour. At the paramedics event, all attendees received a swag bag, of course, completely optional. There was also an opportunity for a 50-50 draw right when you walked in and registered. And during the dinner, there was a silent auction where members of the paramedics team brought donated items, rather. And they also there also was available for purchase a T-shirt. And this T-shirt campaign was another individual fundraiser of theirs, which I'll highlight in just a few moments. The cost for the event could include the spin studio, depending on whether or not the instructor is willing to give up their space and time to pro bono. There could be a swag T-shirt that you include in your swag bag. There could be a cost to that. And dinner and beverages, there might be a charge. Now, to offset some of these costs, you might have team sponsors who could help, or maybe you want to consider doing a potluck dinner, and of course then there's no cost to that. The net proceeds of the event can be divided amongst the team members in a number of ways. For paramedics, they decided to take into consideration a few things, being, of course, participation in the event itself, the time the team members spent organizing the event, and then for those team members who donated items for the silent auction, the value of those items donated. So here's just a few pics from Quad East. On the left, we have Captain Chris and social media guru Mike Foley. You can see them welcoming all the riders in their leis and little Hawaiian skirts. There was the opportunity, again, like I mentioned, for a 50-50 ticket purchase, and then they handed out their swag bags. The registration, of course, was followed by the spin, dinner, silent auction, and T-shirt campaign. And this one event in one afternoon helped raise $4,000 in net proceeds to the team. Another little fundraiser you could do, this one raised $9,000. This T-shirt was actually available at the spin event for purchase, but it did start off whereby each team member received a package from Captain Chris, which included personalized posters, a sample T-shirt sizing guide, purchase tracker, and a collection envelope. So team members pre-sold these T-shirts for $15, and then Chris placed a bulk order with his supplier. The money raised went directly back to each rider based on the number of T-shirts they sold. So again, this is just one fundraising idea that paramedics team had, and it garnered $9,000 in net fundraising revenue. Then, of course, one of my favorites, and I personally did this a few weeks back, is the PJ fundraiser. So think of yourself Saturday morning, waking up bright and early, maybe you want to read the newspaper, grab a cup of coffee, and head to your kitchen table. You have before you really a great opportunity to connect with some friends, acquaintances, past colleagues, and connect with them, and at the same time ask for a donation, all from the comfort of your own home. So not everyone certainly is up for a spin event fundraiser or selling T-shirts, but this is something that you can do on your own, whether you're part of a team or just a solo rider. And here's our recommendation. Build an enormous donor list. Go back 10 years or more. And remember, this is a great way to reconnect with some people who maybe you haven't had contact with in a little while. And decide, are you going to send emails, or maybe you want to try the old snail mail method and send some personal letters. And again, the word personal, it's all about personalizing your notes. So really connect with the person and tell them, of course, why you're riding. We've certainly seen that personalizing notes will increase response rate. And this is also a reminder, I'm sure you've heard it a bunch of times, but make sure you take the time to personalize your page on the RIDE website. If people are going to donate to you, it's nice for them to once again see the story of why you're riding. Most of most of us have a personal connection to cancer, and it's always nice to share and inspire others. Make sure you monitor your progress daily and thank your donors right away. Send appropriate follow-ups. Don't be discouraged if your first request isn't met with an immediate donation. Like in my case, I've already followed up with my mom twice, and to date I have no money from her. So I have to follow up again, but I'm not going to give up, that's for sure. So, and of course, post-ride weekend, make sure to send a thank you note to all your donors. So in summary, for the PJ fundraiser, just always remember that you're not asking money for yourself, but really for Princess Margaret Cancer Center, one of the top 5 cancer centers in the world, where incredible research is being done every single day. So in summary, build your system and schedule your fundraising time. If you know this coming Saturday, you're going to take an hour out, then you're going to make sure it gets done. What gets planned gets done. So brew your coffee or do your Timmy's or Starbucks run, gather your contacts, figure out if you're going to email or send personal notes, create those personalized notes, track your progress, send follow-up, and send, of course, your thank yous. Now, these tips we got from one of our riders who was a top fundraiser 2 years in a row and had the most unique donations of any single rider, with 181 unique donations following this exact method. So hopefully you're walking away today with a couple of ideas for your fundraising efforts to have you not only meet, but rather exceed your fundraising goals. So now I'd like to turn it over to my colleague Steve, and he is going to walk you through some event weekend logistics. Steve?
Hello everyone. Thanks, Ramona. Now I'm in the hot seat. I'm going to, from my understanding, there's a lot of first-year riders on the webinar, which is great, because I'm sure there's a lot of questions you have about how you're going to finish this ride and get your gear bag and your bike and everything all organized. And for those veteran riders also, there's some new information we have to share with you, so I think you'll appreciate some of the things we're going to share in the next 7 or 8 minutes. First of all, I wanted to show you the Toronto Niagara Falls route and pay special attention to the bottom where you see the elevation graphs. You can see that day 2 is a lot easier than day 1. Day 1, make sure you save some energy for that big climb up Hamilton Mountain. We do have a new start line this year, and I'm going to review that in just a quick second, but I just wanted to quickly share with you this. The routes for all the rides will be posted on the website next month. So the maps we have up here right now are from 2014. Here's the Niagara Falls to Toronto ride. So again, if you look at the bottom of the elevation, it's pretty flat on day 1. And if you are very nervous about completing this ride and you're not sure about your fitness level, the easiest route possible is starting in Niagara Falls, going to Hamilton, and then riding back to Niagara Falls and finishing in Niagara Falls. And for all you first-time riders out there, regardless of where you start, I implore you that finishing in Niagara Falls is the way to go. That is absolutely the best experience of the ride, and so all first-year riders, you should absolutely consider finishing in Niagara Falls. So here is our new start line, and this is because we got pushed out. The Pan Am Games moved the Honda Indy 1 month earlier, so we got moved down the road to the Humber Lakeshore campus. So if you see down, it's essentially at Kipling and Lakeshore Boulevard. And this is where we're going to be starting the ride on June the 13th. And for those finishing in Toronto, this is also the finish line. So there's a few things to note. Now, this map is actually posted on our website. In fact, the ride maps and a lot of the event weekend details are now posted to the website in the About the Ride Weekend Event Details section. So you can go there to see this map and learn a lot more about the actual event weekend. I wanted to share with you a little bit of trivia also about the site. The movie Police Academy, for those in my age bracket, may remember that movie, and that's where this movie was filmed way back. I wanted to point out that Lot B, so the parking lot B and there's parking lot A, that's where the overnight parking will be allowed. So if you're parking Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that's going to be Lot B. And in Lot A, that's going to be for Saturday, Sunday parking. We will be running shuttles from both of those parking lots to the start line at Humber. Note that we will not be, one thing I wanted to mention just to manage expectations, when we leave out of Humber College, we're not going to be turning directly left on the Lakeshore Boulevard as there are streetcar tracks, and sending 4,000 plus bike riders on a left-hand turn on the Lakeshore would be a safety issue. So we're going to be going straight across into the residential area and then maneuvering back onto Lakeshore after the first few kilometers. So I just wanted to share that with everyone. And again, if there's any questions, I believe the webinar has the ability for folks to type in questions, so feel free to ask questions. We'll address them at the end of the webinar. So the pre-event online check-in. So to complete the online check-in, you must meet your fundraising goal of 2,500, or sorry, fundraising minimum of 2,500. There is also the delayed self-pledge option. So for those folks who are under 2,500 but want to complete their check-in, you can do a delayed self-pledge, which essentially charges $2 to your credit card, and you're committing to making sure you do achieve the minimum of $2,500. You have until a couple of months after the ride to achieve the $2,500. So you can continue your fundraising after the ride to make sure that you achieve that minimum. Otherwise, you're going to be on the hook for that the difference if you do the delayed self-pledge. Every rider is requested to ride over 200 kilometers and raise that $2,500. That's how we have so much success with our fundraising to charge up our research program here at Princess Margaret. The online check-in will open later this week. It closes May 24th. During the check-in process, you're going to be prompted to watch the mandatory safety video, and please don't just let the safety video run in the background. We implore for everyone to watch the safety video. Safety is number one concern for our riders on this weekend, and we do have the occasional rider who does not abide by the rules, and we want to make sure that as many as possible ride safe, because this is not a race, this is a ride, and it's a lot of fun if you're riding safely. Following your online check-in, you'll receive in the mail your package, which has your ride jersey, your credentials, a luggage or gear tag, what to bring list, more safety tips, and an event agenda. On Friday afternoon, we have the bike drop-off from 2 o'clock to 7 o'clock, and that's at Humber College. If you're doing the Toronto start, that's where you're going to be dropping off your bike, at Humber College. The host hotel is at the Intercontinental. If you're going to be starting in Niagara Falls, and you can go and take a bus from parking lot B on the map that I showed you earlier. Buses leave at 3:30 and 6:15. You also can drop your bike off at parking lot B, and we'll take your bike down and take it right to the bike check-in or the bike storage overnight at the Niagara Falls start line. Saturday morning. First thing to note is that I highly recommend the egg and bacon McMuffin sandwich, because there's nothing like a nice hearty breakfast to start off your day on Saturday morning. We do have complimentary shuttle service running from the host hotels both in Toronto and Niagara Falls. There is overnight parking available at Humber, as I mentioned, in parking lots A and B. And there is at your hotel, and at one of the parking lots in Niagara Falls, there's overnight parking available for folks who are doing the Niagara Falls return ride. 6:30 to 7:30 a.m. is on-site check-in for those who did not check in online. And of course, the hearty breakfast I highly recommend once again. The gear drop-off starts at Humber. Actually, we have gear drop-off available both at Humber College and at the parking lots. So you don't have to worry about hauling your bag to different areas. You can drop your gear bag off at one of our trucks in any of the parking lots or at Humber College. Get there early. That's one of my major recommendations for yourself as a rider, and also for your friends and family coming to watch you. Get there early, because there's a lot of people, especially at the Toronto start line. Niagara Falls start line is a lot less busy. And in fact, if you want to avoid 4,000 plus riders and all their friends and family, go to the Niagara Falls start line. That's where I'm most likely going to be. Low stress, a lot of fun. Plus, I forgot to mention Friday night in Niagara Falls, there's a pasta party that all the riders who are starting in Niagara Falls are invited to, and it's a lot of fun. Opening ceremony started at 8 o'clock a.m. at both locations, and at 8:30 a.m. we take off. And remember, it's a ride, not a race. Camp at Mohawk College in Hamilton. So both the start lines, whether you're starting in Niagara or Toronto, you're going to end up at Mohawk College. We've got steam whistle, we've got Eastel, we've got single malt whiskey sampling going on. Of course, hot showers, massages, yoga. There's live entertainment. There's a lot going on to keep you entertained for the afternoon. After all, what are you going to do in Hamilton in the middle of a hot, sunny, almost summer afternoon? Dinner will be served at 4 o'clock until about 7:30 p.m. At 6 p.m., our evening program starts. We have announcements. We have survivor speakers get up and tell their story. We have doctors get up and talk about how the money is going to help charge up their research programs here at Princess Margaret. Of course, we invite all the first-year riders to sleep at camp in our lovely blue tents. And if you haven't yet participated in such an experience, we highly recommend you taking us up on our offer to sleep in these lovely blue tents. Now, if you don't want to sleep in those blue tents, almost every hotel in the Hamilton area has been booked for months and months. There is still space available at McMaster University, and we do provide shuttles going back and forth from McMaster to Mohawk College. And of course, there's a lot of taxis available also that do take people to the hotels if they book them in advance. Sunday morning, the finish line. We have a hot breakfast starting at 5:30 in the morning at Mohawk. The bike parking opens at 6:30, and riders must leave between the window of 7 a.m. and 8:30 a.m. And so we invite friends and family to meet you at the finish line. If folks are coming down to Niagara Falls to meet you, tell them to get down early. It's very busy down there. It's a congested area already, and with us being down there with 4,000 plus bike riders and many, many visitors, you've got to get them to go up early to watch you at the finish line. Of course, at the finish line, there's more tasty beverages for you. There's a finish line barbecue, and nothing like finishing in Niagara Falls for those first-time riders. Of course, the finish line in Toronto is nice as well, but again, nothing beats finishing in Niagara Falls. So this information, as well as more details about the routes, will be posted on the website and updated on a regular basis. So make sure you keep coming back and checking in with the KPMG Ride Map to Success program and tab on the website, and also the event details tab in the About the Ride to Conquer Cancer. So our next steps. Visit the Ride Map to Success page on the Ride website, as I mentioned. Share this webinar. As it was mentioned at the beginning, this webinar is being taped, and it's going to be available for everyone to watch. And then save the date. Our next webinar, name coming soon, is Wednesday, May the 20th at 12:30 p.m. And we know there's going to be a lot of logistical questions, perhaps some diet and nutrition questions, and other questions. So we're going to have our next webinar Wednesday, May 20th, 12:30 p.m. So I think we're now going to answer any questions that may be being posed by the ridership out there. So feel free to type them in. So one of the questions I noticed that came through is, how do you book accommodations at McMaster University? So if you go to our website, I believe there are, I'm hearing an echo right now, but if you go to the Ride to Conquer Cancer website and about the ride, there should be information about the host hotels. If it's not there, simply Google McMaster University dorm rooms. When you phone, make sure you mention that you're participating in the Emirates Ride to Conquer Cancer, and they will. We have special rates, I believe, for all the riders staying there on June the 13th. Waiting to see if there's any more questions out there.
Steve, I'll hop on with you. I think there are a couple other questions here. that I can throw out at you. We do have a couple of questions in regard to rewatching this webinar. It will be posted on the Ride Map to Success page on the Ride to Conquer Cancer website. So head to the Ride Map to Success page. We'll send you an email when this presentation is posted so you can rewatch it there. I also have a question from Jennifer Norse. How do we arrange to sleep at... Oh, yeah, you did. That's right. That is the question you just answered. Let's see if we have any other good questions here. A question from James. Are there any special issues for people riding recumbent bikes? Recumbent bikes. This might be a question for Derek.
I think that with recumbents, you just want to make sure that you've got a flag or something indicating your height difference. Visibility is the one thing, and just be very cautious riding recumbent around the crowds. A lot of riders aren't having recumbents around, but I'm assuming you're experienced on it if you're showing up on recumbent.
Great, thanks, Derek. We have another question from Marianne. What are the qualifications of a fitter? Derek, I think this is for you as well.
Yeah, that's a good question. A lot of it has to do with what certifications they may have. And despite certifications, nothing replaces experience. So you want to go with somebody that either comes highly recommended from another rider who has worked with them, or somebody that offers some references and testimonials, as well as indicate how long they've been doing bike fits. I'm happy to help anybody with their bike fits. I've been doing it for over 15 years, and you can check out my website for that. But any other shop is usually going to have some type of listing of their fitters qualifications.
All righty. Thank you, Derek. I want to acknowledge just a couple more folks that have joined us online for this webinar. Tom Yates from Sarnia is joining us for his 4th ride. Welcome back, Tom. We also have Harry Hester from Oshawa, who will be joining from his 1st ride. So that's fantastic. Welcome aboard, Harry. All righty. Let's see if we have any other questions. I think that may be it for today. Oh, here we go. No, we do have a new question. Another one from Marianne. Can we use the Ride Facebook to find a training buddy? Steve, is that a question you might be able to answer for us?
Yeah, you know, I would recommend that you. What do you think, Ramona?
I think maybe they could post. There's a section on the left-hand side where you can post a comment, and certainly let's put that away and dig into that a little bit more. Have to organize. So the question is, why make community problems in the area?
Yes, that's correct.
I think that the first step would be to post to Facebook is looking for a training partner in a certain area. But I would, I think we need to come up with a mechanism to marry up riders. Usually a lot of teams will host their own training rides, and so if there is a team that is in that particular area, that might be also a way to see if you could hook on to some of these training rides that are going to be, I'm sure, happening starting this weekend all the way through to the ride weekend.
Fantastic. All righty. Thank you, Steve. Folks, we're going to go ahead and wrap up today's webinar. If you did post a question, we're going to try to get back to you personally with those answers. But we do want to once again thank Derek from Bike Right. Thanks for joining us today, Derek. And, of course, Steve and Ramona from the Princess Margaret Cancer Foundation. Thanks so much for those wonderful tips as far as logistics and fundraising go. Folks, once again, this presentation will be posted on the Ride Map to Success page on the Ride to Conquer Cancer. And once again, of course, this webinar presented by KPMG. We are going to have one final webinar, and that's going to be Wednesday, May 20th. Wednesday, May 20th. That's going to be at the same time at 12:30 p.m. So please stay tuned for that. We'll send out some more information as that one gets a little bit closer. But we appreciate you coming on today. All the best. Happy fundraising. Happy riding. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.